Hey, look at you, Ruben.
I'm ready. No, I don't know what Carl Weathers impersonation I won't do because I can't do one. But I'm ready. I'm ready.
You're looking good, Ruben. All right, let's do this. We're ready to go.
Win.
Toe to toe. Ready to go.
I'm ready to go. Ryan, you said that you were going to record from my living room, which is, I guess, kind of true because I'm in my living room, but we're not in my living room.
No, I am not with you in the living room. First off, how do I sound? Loud and clear? How's my voice?
Well, your voice is your voice, but you're talking about quality of sound.
I'm referring to the quality of sound. How is the quality of my voice sound?
About 80%.
For real?
I didn't even hear you say what.
Okay, stand by.
How's my quality?
Good. Can you hear this?
Yeah. Everything's good now.
Okay.
If I don't hear you, I'll just say I don't hear you.
All right. Well, what can we say? Welcome to Going the Distance, the Rocky Series podcast. I am Ryan, one of the hosts.
And I am Ruben. Yeah, I'm very excited for this. I literally just watched some of Rocky 2. I feel I'm ready. We didn't even follow the fact that you're not here, the why you're not here.
Okay, continue with that story. I think our listeners are dying to know why I am not in your living room. Go ahead.
Snow.
Yes. So snow prevented me from driving my car to Ruben's house. When there's snow in our city of Victoria, we panic and we can't drive in it.
Well, do you know what? I took my daughter to her music lessons tonight. And, on Jacqueline Road, right in front of the Max there's a little bit of a hill. I was stopped at a red light, and then it was time to go. My tires were spinning.
Oh, yeah. It's legit. It's not safe. If your car is not equipped to handle any kind of slick or sleet, it's legit. You should not drive in it. So, hey, welcome to today's recording. So the goal today is we're recording episodes 31 and 32. Episode 30 was just released today.
Let's ding ding. Let's get this show on the road. Let's get this party started.
No, don't ding ding. Ding ding is the end of our episode. So cue the music.
That's what I meant to say. Well, first of all, how are you doing, brother?
I'm doing good. How you doing, Ruben? How's things in Canada?
Very good. Very good.
We don't have Trump in Canada. He's doing pretty good, isn't he?
Yeah. Orangey glad you asked about him? That was a dumb joke. I just saw this picture of him today. He's really orange.
Orangey glad that he went to the tanning booth today?
Now, is that orange from tanning, or is it from like a spray? Is it a makeup? I don't know.
So let's give a shout out to Geek USA Podcast. These guys they're a new podcast. They're starting out. They probably have as many viewers or listeners as we have, or about the same, but that's fine. Yeah, so it's Geek USA Podcast. They're really cool. So where we left off. So today we actually released a new episode. James Rolfe, the Angry Video Game Nerd. That was an incredible interview, wouldn't you say, Ruben?
Loved it. Like talking to him. There's a reason why he's got a career.
Yes, James Rolfe has a career with his Angry Video Game Nerd. We do not have that same career.
No, we have different careers. And what's your career?
Well, I'm in the Navy. Yours, Rube?
I have a children's play center. Life is interesting sometimes.
And on the side, we do the Rocky podcast. So we did that interview with James Rolfe. It went really well. It's out today. It's live. It's published. The James Rolfe interview, episode 30. Check it out. It's really good. So today it's just back to me and Ruben, just the two of us talking about Rocky. And where we left off, episode 29 was Rocky and Mickey agreed to do the fight, to train together, and Adrian was not on board.
No, but does this change your tune?
Well, we'll get there. She doesn't change it for a while. So the first scene after they leave is, I got right here, is the press conference scene, which is a really, the Rocky 2 press conference scene is actually a fan favorite, I think, amongst many people, because here we see Apollo in full angry mode.
When I was watching it, I couldn't help but think of Ollie with the way Apollo talked, the lightning comment. And fun fact, did you know that Ollie did a private screening with that for Rocky 2?
I didn't know that. Go ahead and talk about how that went down.
Anyways, Muhammad Ali was a fan of the Rocky movie, so he did a private screening with Siskel, I think. Roger Ebert, I think he did a private screening with. He enjoyed how Apollo, the oomph that Ollie had.
The same type of swagger and attitude. Yeah, that's very cool.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a mystery per se that Apollo was patterned after the Muhammad Ali personality.
Yeah. I guess it'd be pretty flattering to see a feature film with hats off to him, or to yourself. I think that'd be kind of flattering.
Oh, absolutely.
But I actually dislike that personality, that trait, that aggression that Apollo had. I know in the sense he's kind of the bad guy because you're rooting for Rocky, but I know that's what kind of gives somebody the oomph. I relate more to Stallone, or to Rocky's character. How about you?
Well, yeah, you and I are very similar. We were obviously raised by the same parents. That's a bit of the the nurture part of our life. Of course, you and I have different personalities in general. But that being said, we were raised to be kind, to show respect, to appreciate other people's differences or weaknesses even, and to help out people. So there's a reason why I'm probably not in competitive sports. There probably is a reason. Though I like a good competition, I like a good battle, but here's the thing. I'm actually wearing, if you can see in the podcast, I'm wearing a Montreal Canadiens sweater. So this is a team that in the NHL that I really like, really root for. But I'm so terrible sometimes when my team is like trouncing another team, even though like if my team's winning, there's a part of me that feels empathetic towards the team that's losing. I'm weird that way. I don't go, yeah, destroy them. I almost kind of like a closer game sometimes, or an overtime win, like that kind of victory, than just a trouncing. I kind of feel bad for the team that's getting destroyed. I don't know what that means.
Well, I think you just recognize they're just people just trying to win too and make a living. And
yeah, I like that.
Winning of other people losing is a gross feeling, really.
Well, right. You want to see a good competition. Obviously, you look at MMA, like the fighting, UFC fighting, like you see some of these fighters, they're incredible shape, incredible athletes, but there's a reason why they have a weight class, because, you want to see a good fight. You don't want to see, a 250 pound Neanderthal destroy somebody who could be a very good athlete, a very strong 100-pound person, but the weight class would destroy the other weight class. So you don't want to see a destruction. You want to see a good competition. Yeah. So regarding Rocky, I think we're seeing that. I think in this movie, in Rocky 2, what we're seeing is Apollo at the press conference saying, in the first fight in Rocky 1, I took it lightly. So he's even saying, maybe he's making excuses, that could be argued, but he's saying, I took the match lightly. Rocky got lucky. He went the distance with me. He got lucky. Nobody goes the distance with Apollo Creed. Rocky did that. So this fight, I'm coming in, no jiving, no fooling around. Yeah, it's basically no party time USA. I'm going to come in, I'm all business, and I am going to destroy him in front of his home crowd at the Philadelphia Spectrum. The question was asked to Apollo, like, why are you holding this match at the Philadelphia Spectrum? And his response was, because I want this man's hometown see him destroyed in his neighborhood. Isn't that incredible?
I want all of America, I want the whole world to see me destroy this man after 2 short rounds. Because after this fight, he's going to have to donate what's going to be left of his body to science, but there won't be much. That I can guarantee you.
Rocky, what do you think about the fight taking place in the Spectrum?
Well, I'm very happy about that.
Why?
Well, it's only about 10 minutes from my house.
Yeah, that's real. That's what made him a good heel, I guess.
Yeah, you mentioned earlier that he's a bad guy. I know what you meant by that, but he's the antagonist. Like, we don't want to like Apollo in this movie. In the first movie, we didn't mind him in the first movie. In fact, we kind of liked him because he gave Rocky a chance that only Apollo could give Rocky. We saw Apollo's bravado, his arrogance, and rightfully earned. He was the champion of the world, and he's never lost a fight. He did take that first match lightly, but now we're seeing the Apollo, that hungry, and dare I say, he has that eye of the tiger right now. He's angry and he's hungry. He wants to erase the memory of that quote unquote lucky first fight. So the reporters then asked Rocky, how do you feel about having this match in Philadelphia at the Spectrum? And his answer was, well, I'm happy because it's close to my house.
Yeah, I like his whole demeanor in the press conference. For me, it's the best way to approach life. Have a little humor. Maybe I don't really have anything to add to it other than relate to it. I like the question of what is it that you're going to buy?
Yeah, I wrote down the things that he listed that he was going to buy. I wrote them down verbatim. You ready?
Machine for Paulie, perfume for Adrian, some hats, a statue for his church.
Yeah.
How did I do?
Rocky, your pay for the fight is very substantial. What are you going to do with the money?
Well, the first thing I gotta do is I gotta pay the rent, And then, I made this list on the way over. I was just thinking of things to do. I'd like to get a couple of hats and a motorcycle and a couple of quarts of perfume for Adrian. She likes to smell good. And some Muppet toys, Ernie and Big Bird and Frog. What's his name? Kermit or something like that? And I thought maybe a statue for the church. And I think a snow cone machine for you, Paul. You like snow cones, don't you?
Yeah, you did pretty good. First thing you said was he has to pay the rent.
Oh, yeah. Pay the rent.
Which I think is funny because he bought the house. So it's not rent, it's mortgage, but maybe he's just so used to calling it rent throughout his life. But he's got to pay the mortgage. The reporter, though, she said, Rocky, you're being given a very substantial pay for this fight. And they don't ever say how much he's given for this fight, but I can only imagine how much it was because in the first fight, it was $250,000 for that fight. Now, this is a rematch. And I know, look, I don't even watch boxing that much. And I don't watch UFC that much. But I know enough that when there's a rematch, when somebody feels like they should have won and they didn't, that's the storyline type thing, just like we're seeing in this movie, that the rematch brings in mucho dollars. And the payout, I think it's anywhere from I've heard some numbers as high as $200 million for one fight. Is that too high or am I saying that wrong?
I don't know. It's probably something substantial.
Yeah, so he's going to pay the rent.
Yeah.
He's getting perfume, motorcycle, and we see that motorcycle in Rocky 3. He's going to buy Muppets.
I like how he mentioned, he got Kermit the Frog and Muppet, but Bert and Ernie, those are puppets. They're not Muppets.
Well, yeah, it's funny. If the Sesame Street and the Muppets, they come from the same family. We know it's a Jim Henson puppet, but the Sesame Street, the Muppets are the same family of puppets.
Remember Temple of the Dog, the band? It had members of Soundgarden and Pearl Jam? It's a different entity. Though there's some shared creation there, it's not the same. I take issue with calling Bert and Ernie a Muppet. Same creator, same vein, but they're not Muppets. Just like Chris Cornell is not in Pearl Jam.
Okay, well, we're gonna have to agree to disagree, but I know what you're saying.
Really, you still agree with that?
No, I hear you. It's
good.
So where does Fraggle Rock end up?
That's Fraggle Rock. They're not Muppets. Fraggle Rock's Fraggle Rock. Muppets is Muppet. Sesame Street, Sesame Street. But anyways, I had a chuckle from that.
And the other thing I liked was the statue for the church. I don't think we ever saw the statue that he wanted to buy or what it was going to be or what it was going to be of. But that's pretty cool. And I was actually
want to get back to the community.
Yeah, exactly. He was giving back to the community, which was really cool. And what I liked about this too was this is 1979. We're kind of spoiled with today. We're kind of spoiled with today's technology and the things you get like 4K, high def TVs, video game systems, just the electronics out the yin yang, the places you can travel, even roller coasters, amusement parks, the places you can visit and the things you can do when you visit these places. It's just that much greater than 35 years ago. And so it's kind of interesting to hear the shopping list that somebody would have in 79.
You're right. So what would your shopping list be?
Let's say the pay cut was 20 million, very similar. I've always fantasized about that money. You know, when you get kind of like, what would I do if I received $100 million? The first thing would be, let's say it was 100 million, something very substantial. Pay off, of course, not just pay off my house. I'd get a new house. And then what I would do is I'd privately message my 3 brothers, obviously, and my parents. And I would just say, tell me the number you need to be at 0, whatever that number is. One brother might be X number of dollars. The other brother is Y number of dollars. And then whatever number they give me, and they wouldn't know this. Now they're going to know this because, but I'll never get $100 million. So it doesn't matter. But whatever number they give me, then I would just double it. So if they said I needed $50,000 to finish off my mortgage, I would give them $100,000. Does that make sense?
Sure.
Something like that. And then money for the kids, you know, like a little stipend, just like Donald Trump got from his father, maybe $1 million for each kid. So when
Stipend.
My apologies.
Not stipend.
Stipend.
Tomato, maybe. I don't know.
That's what I would do. What would you do with the money? Something similar or?
The exact same thing okay. They've had the exact same thought. Watching the movie The Jerk a couple of days ago, where he grew up as a poor black boy. Have you seen this movie, The Jerk?
Yeah, of course. I'm listening.
He grows up in this little shack, and then he makes money. They built a bigger shack, but it's like identical, but a bigger shack. You pay off your house, well, you get it just a new house. I pictured bigger, but the exact same. I don't know. I like the movie The Jerk. It's one of my favorite comedies. People that would just kind of live the same because more uncomfortable than comfortable if I lived like a king.
Right. I don't think I can live Trump style. That's too much. It's gaudy to me. It's just too much to have gold this and golden shower curtain rods. You know, anything that's golden. Why is it that people that are rich have bad hair? Trump, Bill Gates. I don't get it.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, that's true. Well, Hitler, Kim Jong-il, and Trump, the common thread for these 3 individuals is hair issues.
There's obviously something loose there.
Yeah, something's weird about the fact that Genghis Khan, for example, I think he had bad hair, didn't he?
I'd imagine so. It's a scientific fact. Your hair is very normal, Ryan.
Well, your hair is normal too. The lack of hair is normal too. You don't try to pretend that you have hair when you don't, and that actually is normal behavior.
Yeah, absolutely. Overcompensate with a swirl.
All right, there we go. Oh, hey, Geek USA Podcast. Another shout out to Geek USA Podcast. Yes, it is a classic Martin film. Steve Martin, great actor, great comedic actor. We just talked about the shopping list that Rocky's going to do. This guy loves to shop, that's for sure. Okay, so the reporters asked Apollo during the press conference, did the Southpaw jinx, I say again, did the Southpaw jinx, did that have something to do with Rocky maybe throwing off your game a little bit?
Apollo, a lot of people say that you lost the first fight, a victim of the Southpaw jinx. Did fighting a left-hander throw you off?
Southpaw jinx nothing. Last time I took the fight too lightly and this man was just plain lucky. But this time you all will see the real Apollo Creed. The whole world's gonna see the real Apollo Creed. Lightning fast and hard to catch. No playing, no jiving, just business.
Rocky, do you think you have a chance this time against Apollo?
I don't know. He looks pretty mad. Me and Mick, we're going to try our best.
And I'm not a boxing expert, believe it or not, even though I'm a Rocky fan. I don't know all the ins and outs of boxing. But my understanding is when you're a left-handed fighter, you jab with your right. My understanding is when you're jabbing with your right, then you come in with a power hit with your left. So southpaws lead with the right. If you're opposite, if you're right-hand fighter, you're jabbing with your left, and you come in with a big strength on your right. So in order to block, so if it's like a mirror. So if both boxers are jabbing with the same, they're like this, it throws off the boxing because they're not going alternating punches. So I guess Apollo in his career probably didn't come across a lot of left-handed fighters. That may have really accounted for Apollo being kind of thrown off by his being a left-handed fighter. So that's my understanding of how it works. But then Apollo, of course, says, Southpaw jinx nothing. He just got lucky.
Just going to backtrack for a moment. Them doing it in Philadelphia, because the original script, I'm not sure if you know this or not, being in Rome. Wanted to fight in it's Rocky's, heritage, the Italians.
To kind of, I see, they wanted to fight where he came from in Rome, but obviously production costs would have been too much. So they just said his hometown of Philadelphia. That's cool. I did not know that.
Well, a little trivia for you guys.
Well, that's Ruben with the trivia.
So the press conference, I just like how Stallone was, just the demeanor.
Yeah, he was Stallone or Rocky, his demeanor was it's probably a little bit overwhelmed. He's probably torn in a lot of different ways because, number one, he's relieved that he has money for his family. He's probably a little bit nervous because he's seen just how angry Apollo really is. He's seen like this guy is he's angry. Because in fact, he says to Mickey at the end of the press conference, he says, he looks pretty upset. And Mickey's response was, well. And then on top of that, so he's excited, he's nervous, and he's a little bit worried. And he knows still in the back of his mind, Adrian is not on board for this fight. One other
frustrating.
Oh, yeah, very frustrating. I mean, again, you and I are married. We both have women that we're married to. We know that any kind of partnership, it's okay,
You said you and I are married.
Yes, we are married to separate women. Yes, just to clarify. Yes, we're not from Virginia, and I can say Virginia because we have no Virginia listeners. We have nobody from Virginia that listens to us, so we can rag on them. I guess in the States, West Virginia or Virginia or something like that is known to be kind of an incestuous place. I think I could be wrong.
I don't know.
I don't know either. Maybe somebody.
Incest capital.
Oh, here we go. Incest capital of the U.S.
This is creepy even typing it. Arkansas is the incest capital of the United States of America.
I take it back. Virginia. Sorry, Arkansas. We're not from Arkansas.
Hey, speaking of shopping, in real life, okay, this is one of the things I like about Stallone and him training Rocky, because you think, where does it end? Where's it begin of Rocky and Stallone? What's autobiographical? I know the word autobiographical and what's not. Butt kisses his dog, the Trans Am. He also bought a Trans Am in real life.
Yeah, that's right. It's pretty cool.
It's kind of interesting that he really relates to buying those things, and a little insight to the man, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm glad you brought that up because we've often talked throughout our podcast through previous episodes that there is definitely a correlation and parallel writing between Rocky, the character, and Sylvester Stallone, the actor, man. I mean, I think every movie, we've talked about it before, but Rocky 1, a desperate boxer, almost at his prime. Because if you think about it, when an actor reaches their prime, it's kind of like 25, 30, 33. That's their prime of when you're the most handsome or whatever. And then an athlete, it's about the same. Like athletes retire at 30, 33. And then Rocky 2, he kind of gets to rematch his career, so to speak. He gets to be on top. Then Rocky 3, he really is on top. And he's on top in the real world. And Rocky 4, he's like on top. This is like Sylvester Stallone's career was amazing in like 84, 85 to 88. And then Rocky 5 came out and it kind of signaled a little bit of like, ooh, what happened here? His career kind of went down a little bit. Stop or My Mumble Shoot was out. Things like that were happening. And then he has some direct-to-video movies. And then Rocky Balboa came out and a resurgence of his career because the movie was good. So there's been some real parallels between his own career and the character of Rocky. It's if it's not written in, it's pretty uncanny. I can't imagine he doesn't write it in.
He's pretty self-aware.
He would have to be. He's too intelligent not to be aware. If we can figure it out, I'm sure he's figured it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, Geek USA podcast says that West Virginia is definitely one of those two. So we weren't totally wrong.
One of those two of what?
The incest states. West Virginia or both. That's So hey, it's good to know. So I don't know how you can win that competition.
If you win that, you've lost.
That's true. Geek USA podcast did ask who's watching our feed here. There's 3 people watching, but he's the only one talking. The good news is we do have more than 3 people who download our episodes, but that's okay. This is fun. Appreciate you guys taking a peek and saying hi. Last part of this press conference, which is actually the best scene and the one that's most talked about throughout Rocky Talk regarding this press conference, was when Paulie says his lungs he's going to punch out.
His lungs he's going to punch out.
Now, who's that? Al Capone?
I will slit you.
Look here. A lot of people may not like me, and that's okay. But come November, Apollo Creed will provide the ultimate gala spectacle on Thanksgiving in front of this man's home crowd. I'm gonna drop him like a bad habit.
Rocky, got anything derogatory to say about the champ?
Derogatory. Yeah, he's great.
How about some clowning shots, Apollo?
Yeah. Does this look like a circus to you, man? Come November, you're mine.
So there's Paulie. What I love about the scene is Paulie's sitting to the side. He's got his own chair to himself, and he's got his back he's got this plush chair, and he's sitting watching the press conference this way. Like he's got a view, the best view in the house. He's sitting there with a cigar, sitting down there with his hat, his suit, his cigar, like truly like a kingpin mafia member. And he's like, his lungs he's gonna punch out. And then Paulo looks over like, who is this guy? Why is he sitting there like this? And he actually says, who is this guy? Al Capone?
Al Capone.
And what I love about this scene is, again, it shows the writing prowess of Stallone, because this has to get written.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they have to set up the scene. Okay, let's put the table out. Let's have the reporters over here. We're going to have Mickey, Rocky, Apollo, and his trainer staff. And then Paulie's going to be over there against the wall, sitting down, looking old gangster. And I just love it because that discussion took place. And I just wish we, you know, the documentary that was never filmed for the making of these films, that dialogue, the storyboards, I think that would have just been amazing to see that type of dialogue. Like, and Paulie's like, or Burt Young's like, you know, I could smoke a cigar and I could talk old gangster and I could be accused of being Al Capone and then I'll say, I don't sweat you. Like, where does that come from? Is it all Stallone? Is Stallone the only one that writes this dialogue? Or is Burt Young offering that dialogue, I don't sweat you? So these are questions I have for Stallone. So Stallone, my apologies. Mr. Stallone or Sly, if you're listening, can you let us know? Did I lose you, Ruben? I think I lost my brother, that big rant. I think he just messaged me. Just wait one sec. I think that was him on Facebook said. I thought he was listening very, very attentively. And so he's gone. Thanks for being patient, guys. We're just trying to get Ruben back. Like I said, we would usually be in the same room together, which, hey, Ruben, welcome back.
Thank you. Sorry I left.
Ideally, you and I being in the same room is ideal.
It is.
So
podcast or not.
So we'll get through this.
We'll go the distance.
We're going to go the distance. We've got some good stuff here. There's no. I went on this big Paulie rant, and I thought you were listening intently because your face was like this. This is what I saw, and only our viewers would see this. But this was the face that I saw. And so I thought, whoa, wow, Ruben's really listening. He's not commenting or nodding his head or anything, but he's really listening to what I have to say. So I really appreciate that.
You're welcome.
So we actually have a Geek USA podcast. We're plugging you a lot today, buddy. We're plugging you a lot. So Geek USA podcast is giving us good feedback on how we're doing. And like I said, they've got a new podcast. It's really good. And the reason why I know about them is because they did a Rocky. They ranked the Rockies. And we actually want to have...
You told me about them, yeah.
Yeah, and they did a really good job. I would have to re-listen to it and take notes because I want to go toe-to-toe with Carl, and I think it's James. Oh, man, you have to remind me. But I want to go toe-to-toe with these guys because there's some things I didn't agree with, and that's what makes a good conversation good. So, but they're really cool. They actually did this is off topic, but they did a Dream Theater. Not only did they do a Dream Theater episode, Ruben, okay, They did two.
Dream Theater, the band?
They're geeks, which is fantastic. I love geeks. We're geek. But they did Dream Theater, the band. But not only did they do one episode, Dream Theater, they did two. It warranted 2 episodes. So pretty fantastic.
Of course it would.
Yes. Kudos to Geek USA podcast for doing Dream Theater. I will say I didn't watch that or listen to that one because I have about as much interest in Dream Theater as I do in Nickelback. Not saying they're the same talent. I'm just saying the same level of interest. Is that a good plug for their show? But yeah. The next scene, they're in Rocky's house and they're watching the fight from the first film. They're studying the film from the first fight. Now, this is a very common practice. Sports teams do this all the time. They'll watch their own film from previous matches. They watch other teams they're about to play. You know, this is the player. Hey, it's Super Bowl weekend, right? So they're studying the other team, seeing who's weak, who's strong, where they can manipulate people's weaknesses and where their own weaknesses are. Because it's just like anything. When you write a novel, it's hard to edit your own work because you don't see the mistakes from an outside perspective, right? And so, anyways, they're watching the film of the first fight. But what I love about this, and there's no way they can get around this, is they're actually watching Rocky 1, the film. You know what I mean by that?
Funny.
Like,
yeah. I didn't even think of that.
So they're watching the Rocky 1 fight. They're like, okay, I forget the exact dialogue Mickey was using, but it's like, you fight terrible or whatever it was, and we're gonna work on this. So we need to give you fast speed, greasy lightning, fast speed. We're gonna.
But first, you gotta get speed, demon speed. Speed's what we need. We need greasy, fast speed.
Mickey, in order to beat the champ, you got to fight like a champ. Ironically, I just read a comment on our feed there. You all have a good live feel, fellas. And as I read that, it stumbled me up, and it wrecked the live feel. But that's okay. Okay, thanks, Carl. But no, I like the comments because it means, hey, that's why we're doing this. We want to hear what people have to say. They're watching the film, and I just love how in movies, when every time they watch film of a previous event that happened in the film, they're watching the actual movie or else they have to refilm the whole thing just to make it seem realistic.
Yes, kind of fun. Completely off topic, but I really want to bring it up. Okay, our mutual friend Kyle,
Superfan Kyle.
No, this is not Superfan Kyle. He messages me. Sorry, he wanted to know what came first, Puff Daddy or the Rocky theme. Okay, that's not off topic because that's Rocky. Let me just repeat that so I understand what he's asking you. Is he trying to be funny? No. So he's not trying to be funny or ironic. So he's asking, did Puff Daddy create the Rocky theme music, or did Puff Daddy sample the Rocky theme music? So what came first? Yeah. Oh, do you know what? I misquote him. I just found the message. He said, hey, is the opening song from your Going the Distance podcast? Sorry, that was the question. Did not remember the question properly. Probably a dumb question, he says. And so I said yes and yes. The yes is from Rocky. Well, there's no dumb questions. Because I was going to... Oh, there are. I was asking, I only know that song from Puff Daddy. P. Diddy. What song does Puff Daddy sample? Okay, are you going to find it? Yeah. Is it Puff Daddy, P. Diddy, Pity? I pity the fool? Hold on.
1, 2. Check me out right here, yo.
Yo, the sun don't shine forever, but as long as it's here, then we might as well shine together. Better now than never, business before pleasure. P. Diddy and the fam, who you know do it better. Yeah, right, no matter what, we airtight. So when you hear something, make sure you hear it right. Don't make an ass out of yourself by assuming our music keeps you moving. What are you proving? You know that I'm 2 levels above you, baby. Hug me, baby, I'ma make you love me, baby. Talking crazy ain't gonna get you nothing but choke. And that jealousy is only gonna leave you broke. So the only thing left now is God for these cats. And babe, you know you're too hard for these cats. I'ma win cause I'm too smart for these.
It's Notorious B.I.G., Busta Rhymes, and Puff Daddy. Yeah, I don't like it. Is it because it's horrible? It doesn't sound like anything to me worth listening to over and over again. That's all. They should have used that in Creed. Yeah, fair enough, I guess. So that being said, what I'm saying is I wasn't a big fan of some of the sounds, like some of the music, because I'm just not a fan of that music. But maybe this would have been better. Maybe something like this would have been better. Kind of like sample to that idea, sample the old sound a little bit. And I think they did a little bit, but I'd have to go back. Anyways. Listen to what like a white Creed would it sound like. It's all right. I don't want to leave the comfort of this place. That's White Creed. That's White Creed. Yeah, the White Creed would not have worked for that movie either. So I think they chose correctly. One second. I went off topic. Where were we? Okay. Well, no, we just did the film. They're reviewing the film of Rocky and Apollo. So they want to get a feel of what Rocky needs to work on. So the next scene now is the famous scene where Mickey's yelling, or not yelling, he's saying, we need feed. Oh, sorry, we need feed. We need speed. Greasy, fast, lightning speed. So the next scene was the chicken chasing scene in the little area here. First off, where did Mickey get a live chicken? I don't
He's just got a live chicken. Like, where does this come from? He just, I got a chicken. I don't know. Yeah, he might know he might know a guy, but he's holding the chicken. And of course, Rocky says, I'd rather eat it than chase it.
Have you ever chased the chicken?
Well, that's a great question. I was actually going to ask you. So you've asked me. I feel like I've been around chickens enough to know that if you start to chase them, I don't think you can catch them very well. But you have much more experience with chickens. So tell me, have you chased a chicken?
Oh, yeah, many times. The first time was at our Uncle Noel's house, Island, when he had chickens, when I was probably 12. They're fast. But yeah, then when I had chickens a couple times, if you're going to chase them, you have to kind of outsmart them.
So it's not about speed necessarily, but it's about outsmarting a peanut-sized brained animal?
Yeah, that's my experience.
Yeah, okay, well, no, it's good. And I think Rocky eventually does that. But in this scene, he does not catch the chicken. He's out of breath. He can't catch the chicken. Of course, Mickey's like, what's the matter? You can't catch a chicken? What's the matter with you? He goes, I feel like a Kentucky Fried Idiot.
I show you a trick how to get some speed in them legs. You have to wear that stinking sweatshirt.
Well, it brings me luck, you know.
You know what it brings? It brings flies. Now listen, I want you to try, listen to me. I want you to try to chase this little chicken.
Oh, what do I gotta chase a chicken for? It's embarrassing, you know.
First, because I said so. And second, because chicken chasing is how we always used to train in the old days.
Yeah.
You catch this thing, you can catch grease lightning. Ready?
Yeah, well, I'd rather eat it than chase it. It ain't very mature,
Listen,
but if you say
well,
so.
neither are you very mature. Now listen, get this thing.
No, a fighter ain't a farmer.
Come on, now. Go on and get him! Get him, get him, get him! Come on, what's the matter with you? Get him! Pick him up! Put him down! Pick him up! Put him down! What's the matter? You're so fast. What are you standing still or something? Speed, speed! Can't you catch your little chicken? Huh? Come on, run! Move your tail! Move your tail! You look like a girl out there. What's the matter with you?
Feel like a Kentucky Fried Idiot.
What I call this sequence of scenes in the Rocky film is the non-inspired training sequence. We know that in the Rocky films, we have the training, like we have the inspired training, and then we have the non-inspired training. In Rocky 1, we saw Rocky going up the steps for the first time, out of breath, drinking the raw eggs, can't really jog very well. Rocky 2, which we're doing now, Adrian's not on his side, so he's not inspired right now. He's going through, excuse the pun, he's going through the punches of training, but his heart's not in it. Rocky 3, we know it's because he's afraid, so he's not training very well because he's afraid of Mr. T or Clubber Lang, or both. and then Rocky 4, same idea, because Adrian's in America, not with him. He trains better when Adrian gets there. Rocky 5, well, there's really no training for him because he's training Tommy Gunn. Rocky 6, I don't know if he had any real problems with training. I think, you know what? I think it was straight to training. I think at that he figured out, like, yeah, I'd better just train. But anyway, so it's just kind of interesting, the theme. You know, there's the failed training sequence, and then there's the good training sequence. So here we see Rocky now with his right arm tied to his side, and he's punching, like heavy punching the punching bag with his left arm. So he's giving those hard jabs. So he's got to learn now to jab with his left. Like I said before, he's trying lead with his left and then go for his right. So he's trying to learn how to jab with his right. Sorry, correction. He's jabbing with his left.
Yeah.
And then Paulie's sitting to the side of the ring watching Rocky train. Paulie's like, what's the matter with my sister? And Rocky goes, well, you know, Adrian don't like this nun. She started crying and everything. So you got Paulie, his brother-in-law, asking, you know, what's the deal with my sister? And Rocky's like, she's being a woman. She's crying all the time. She started crying and everything. Well, number one, she's pregnant. And the hormones do get to pregnant women. I've been through a few pregnancies, so have you. Number two, what I find kind of funny is Mickey's standing in between these two. Like, what is going on here? You guys are having this domestic stuff, you know. And
I wonder what Mickey's life was.
Well, yeah, there's no indication that I would assume that Mickey, if he had anything, he had a failed marriage, maybe two, no kids, or if he does, they don't talk to him. I would say the boxing is his life. His kids are the people in the ring. Rocky became like a son to him. So he probably really, I would assume he didn't have children because he gives the cufflinks to Rocky during this timeline of the Rocky films. We see it later in Rocky V in a flashback, but he gives the cufflinks that Rocky Marciano gave him. He gives them to Rocky. And I would assume that that's something a father would do to his son. So even if he had kids, they were out of his life or he never had them. I like to think he just never had them. I don't like to think that Mickey was the one to abandon his family. Or they all died in a fiery plane crash and he's the lone survivor. No, I don't know.
Unanswerable question.
Well, it's funny how we never know the lives of a lot of these characters. We don't know Rocky's family. We don't know Paulie and Adrian's family. We don't know Mickey's family. So the family, it's weird how the family is Mickey, Rocky, Adrian, Paulie, Apollo to some extent. So the films are about family, but we don't know anything about their families.
That's why I wish there was alternative movies where there's the Rocky film, Adrian film, or Paulie film, and like then Rocky's a side character.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely agree. I don't want to ding ding here, but do we have enough to ding ding here?
It's better to go under than over.
We're midway through the failed training sequence. I guess we have enough for episode 31.
Let's not wear the people out.
Okay, Ruben, want to take us out of episode 31?